city of the red, white, and blue.
It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Roberts.
Welcome to Veterans Issues, and you won't see a guest here today because I'm the guest. And we're going to talk about some things that just happened in the recent legislature session down in Montgomery, some things that benefit veterans. Get you a pen, stay with us, be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Today we're going to talk about some things that happened in the legislature that you wouldn't have any other way of knowing about it except through Veterans Issues, so we're going to talk to that. First, before I start, I want to talk about some shout outs, but I don't get a chance to do these when I've got a guest on here. I want to give a shout out to Jerry Watts over in Walker County. He watches us on ATT Uverse. He said he never misses a show, and he tapes us when he can't see it. And I want another dear friend of mine for many years down in Gulfport, Mississippi, Darlene Battles, and Darlene watches us on Facebook every week. So shout out to y'all. I don't get to do them every week, so that take a little time today to do that. Now, occasionally the legislature will meet and they pass bills and that benefit veterans or sometimes harm veterans, but you have no way of knowing because unless you hear it here on the show, because they don't pass it out in places that you might hang out. And we're trying to do something about that, or at least I am, and have been for a year or so, trying to get it put into public service announcements across the state of Alabama. But until that happens, you're just going to have to watch it here on WEAC TV 24, or ATT Uverse, or catch it on Facebook, and we'll let you know what's happening. The legislature passed several bills this last time. Now, I'm going to have to read at them to let you know, because I want to make sure you understand. The first bill was to make admission to any state park free of charge to veterans and military. It was for just during holidays. Now they changed it and made it free admission to honorably separated or active duty personnel. So that's a new change that they did. So if you're going to any of the state parks, anytime, it doesn't have to be during a holiday or whatever, but you show your ID and that you get in free. That doesn't mean the family does, but it means you do. The other thing was a tax credit to small businesses that hire unemployed veterans after 2 years separation. They changed that to any combat veteran who was an Alabama resident at the time of their service. So that has changed. So if you're a small business and you're looking for a tax credit, check into that, because it has changed from who you can get the credit to, and that. Another one was a business that is owned 50% by a veteran with 50% ownership. It's given preferred vendor status under state competition laws. Now, if you're a veteran and you've got a company, small company, and the 50% of your company is veterans, you get preference on any state bids that the work that you want to do. Let's say you're bidding for a construction contract, and you're up against some of the big boys, the big girls out there that got the big companies. You become a big company because you get preference by being a veteran company. So keep that in mind. So if there's any, these have to be state jobs, can't just be jobs. So, and I know when I was at the Anderson Army Depot, that was true out there too. So you might want to look at that too, because I know there's a lot of opportunities for people out there to get jobs that if you are veterans preference. This is something that it's just something that ought to make you feel good, and it's illegally parked vehicles that are parked in things like, it says Purple Heart Medal of Honor, Prisoner of War. Some businesses have signs designated for those people. Some of them even have for Iraq, Afghanistan veterans. If you're caught parking in those and you're not eligible, you can be ticketed as of last Friday. So, and something else came out that I want to remind you about, and the tickets are already being given. If you are one of those people, or you know somebody that's one of those people that drives in the left lane, if you drive in the left lane and you're not passing the car in the right lane, then you're breaking the law. If you're in the left lane and you're just riding along with the same as the traffic beside you, you need to back up and get behind that other car, or speed up, get in the front of that car, but don't stay in that left lane and hold it. That lane can stay open. If you go into town, states like Tennessee, you'll see they got a spare lane over there. You have to have 2 or more people in the car before you can do it. It's the express lane. But what Alabama passed a law, you cannot hog that left lane. And here in the city of Anderson, you've got Quintard Boulevard. That is a state highway. The highway patrol can police that, and if they catch you in that left lane, even though there's 3 lanes going there, if you're in that left lane, yeah, you're violating the law. You don't, if you're in the left lane, you're passing, you're going faster than the other cars, that's okay. But don't, and I mean, I'm giving you this advice because they were writing tickets like crazy last week, state and city. So save you some money, and you can thank me later. Well, that parking in those parking spots, if it says, if it's designated for any of those branches, military, or veterans, don't do it, because they are going to be, as of last Friday, they have the authority, the city police, the businesses have the authority to pick up the phone and call the police, and they can come out and ticket your car. So if you don't want to do that, don't park in those. And you shouldn't want to do that anyhow. If you see that, that's there for a reason. If you want to donate to the Alabama Cemetery, there's a place on your tax that you can do that. It may be a little bit too late this year, but if it's not already too late, there is a place on there and it would go to a good cause with the things that we got going on down there, where they scatter the remains and those kind of things, scatter gardens and all that stuff. So you could use your assistance. So if you feel like you want to donate something to a cause, check off that Alabama Cemetery at Spanish Fort. That's a tax donation. Let's see. We had a situation down at with the GI Bill last year, and basically what it was is if you were drawing 20% disability, you could send your kids to, and you 20% disability, and you entered the service in Alabama, you could send your kids to college free tuition and books. Yeah, you had to be drawing 20% disability. They changed that to 40% disability, and that caught a lot of people out in the dark. One of them's drawing 30% down here in Pell City, 3 kids, and it really threw him a curve. They are going to try to get the colleges to honor that, and they're trying to get the colleges to cut down on their price some. That was one of the reasons we had to cut it up, because the colleges raised their price and we didn't have the money in to pay them. So we got to go to a break, come back. We're going to talk more about what happened in Montgomery this past week. Get your pen, be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. We're talking about some things that passed in the legislature this last Friday was the last day, and I've got some information that the bills that passed through. And as I went to break, I was telling you about the one where they had the 20%, and they moved it up to 40%. That was a result of the cost of schools going up. The schools increased the price, and it didn't give any more money into, and they increased the price of the schools, but they didn't put any more money in the GI Bill. So that really hurt the situation. It caused us to have to go up from 20% to 40%. If you got any questions about that, you can give me a call, and my information is on the screen here. And you can give me a call, and I'll put you in touch with the people that run the GI Bill down there in Montgomery. And if you want to write that number down now, you can do it. It's 334-242-5700 or 5077. And you tell them you need to talk to somebody about the GI Bill. They'll tell you whether you qualify for it or not. And this is not the 911 GI Bill. This is the Alabama GI Bill we're talking about. Last week I had the folks on here with Habitat for Humanity, and they talked about the veterans bill, the housing. They wanted to build a house for a veteran. And I want to give you that information again. So this is where the pen comes in handy. I want you to write this number down and this website. The phone number is 256-237-3700. The website is apinson, A-P-I-N-S-O-N, apinson at habitatanniston.org. apinson at habitatanniston.org. And that's about building a home for a veteran in need. And if you know a veteran in need, give them that information or make that call and tell them about them. It's a good chance for you to help somebody out there if you know somebody. And if you are the veteran, you need to make that call real quick. Get on the list. We down at the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs, I serve on the state board. One of the things that's been on the talk for a long time has been a new veterans home. We have 4 in the state of Alabama. One is in Pell City, one is in Alexander City, one is in Huntsville, and the other one's in Bay Minette. And those homes have various waiting periods from 4 months to 2 years. And we have looked at for about 3 or 4 years whether we should build another home or not. And the way we do that is we put a feasibility study out there. We hire a company through a bid process. Whoever wins the bid does the feasibility study. And I believe the company we got this time is out of Wisconsin. But they are working on it right now. They're in the middle of phase 1 of that feasibility study to determine, number one, if we need another veterans home. And if so, how big does it need to be? And most of all, where in Alabama does it need to be located? So when we get that information, I'll be able to give you that information on here. But we have no idea where that information will take us, because the last one we did the same kind of study, and I had no idea that it was going to lead us to Pell City, Alabama. But it did, and we now got a beautiful home down there. But I'll be keeping you posted on that as we go forward for the next veterans home, and it'll be a little bit different, but it'll be something similar to the one in Pell City. No more double rooms, 2 people to a room. The private room will always go with a private room setting, and that's good and that's bad. It means that we have to have more land when you do that. You got to have a bigger place. One of the things I get calls on now, Lowe's. A lot of Lowe's has been giving discounts to veterans and military for many, many years. They still do. Nothing's changed except the way they do it. They won't honor DD-214s. They won't honor your driver's license with the word veteran on there. They won't honor nothing. No military cards or anything. The only thing they do is you can go on to the website, and the website of this, where the pen comes in handy. Go on to the website, lowes.com/military. Do that, go on there, give them the information, and it will, next time you go to Lowe's, you want a discount, you don't have to show a card, you give them your phone number. They'll ask for your phone number, you give them the phone number, and they pull it right up there. So, and if you think about it, a lot of stores are doing that, like PetSmart and others. So No more cards, no more nothing. You got to have that phone number at Lowe's. Let's see. I had some. Oh yeah, CDL license. A lot of you, if you're a spouse here and your husband's overseas, and he's got a CDL license in a military vehicle, when he comes back stateside, discharged, he don't have to go through and get him another CDL license. All he's got to go down is get his converted over from military to the state of Alabama, and he can start driving a tractor trailer in the state of Alabama immediately. If you're stationed in Alabama and are stationed in Missouri or Oklahoma and you get transferred to Alabama, and your wife was working, she can't draw unemployment in Alabama because she was working in Oklahoma or wherever. But under a new bill passed in Montgomery, she can, with a set of his orders showing he was transferred here, she can draw unemployment from the state of Alabama with a set of his orders showing he was transferred here. And let's see, I want to make sure I get all this stuff that I wanted to talk about. If you had license to be an electrician or any kind of technical things, or license are required in a state, you can change those over too, and that won't cost you. And I wanted to make sure you were aware of that. The tax credits that I talked about earlier, veterans can get a tax credit if they open a business here. And the tax credit mostly come off your income tax at the end of the year. I think you get like $2,500 if you start a business in Alabama. If you're a veteran, you start a business, you get a tax credit. So make sure if you're filling out your taxes now, it's not April 15th yet, so you got time. If you started a business in Alabama and you're a veteran, you got a tax credit coming, $2,500. So you need to look at that and see if you're eligible for it. There was some other stuff. I get in here and I think, well, I've forgotten half of the stuff that I needed to talk about. Oh yeah, the one thing I brush over it every week, but the DAV van that comes out of Oxford needs some drivers bad, and you have to go through a little bit of training over in Birmingham because you are handling government people in that van, and they are responsible. So give me a call if you'd like to drive the DAV van, because they sure do need some help. And I hope you got something out of what we was doing here today, because there's some information that can benefit you big time, and I'll try to keep you up with all the other. This was the bill that came out. It's about 4 pages, and I tried to summarize it down to where you could understand it. So we're going to go to a break, come back. I got some news that you can use. Stay right there and get you a pen. We're back on camera one. We're back for the news that you can use portion. And I'm going to tell you again this week, you're going to get tired of hearing it, but I want you to call this young fella. His name is Hayden Crow, Hayden Crow. His phone number is 256-201-7757. He owns a place called New Leaf Landscape, New Leaf Lawn and Landscape. And he cut my grass yesterday. I wasn't even expecting him. I heard a lawnmower outside my house. And man, I'm looking out there, and they got guys all over with weed eaters, and they're scattering every which way. I can't keep up. I'm trying to watch them on my monitors, my TV monitor. They're too fast. They down my driveway with a weed eater, back up this way around my mailbox. All this, they do that, and it just looked so manicured when they left. And I can't say enough about them, but I can say this and tell you the truth. He charges me half of what I've been paying for about 15 years there. So for you folks out there who can save yourself a buck, we're getting some good service. Call up Hayden Crow. You won't regret it. Now remember, the people that sponsor the show, one of them is Superior Hyundai. Superior Hyundai up here on North Quintard. I say North Quintard, it's on South Quintard. And as you're coming down the hill, it's right there on your right. And they, if you tell them, you show them a DD214, you're going to get a $500 discount. And if you tell them you saw it on TV 24, Veterans Issues, they're going to give you another $500. Now, there's $1,000 you're going to get off the card just by this show right here, just from this show. And other people get it, like teachers get a discount. And I never had heard it, but people who are buying a car for their first time, and law enforcement and first responders get discounts also. But that thing about the $500, take advantage of it. You're gonna be there anyhow. To say I saw it on the Veterans Issues, I heard Ken Rollins talking about it or whatever, and they're gonna give you $500 off of it. So take them up on it. The VA hotline. This is something that's important. Even if you're not a veteran, if you know a veteran, keep this number handy just in case you know one. If a veteran says, I need this, I need that, say, hey, I know a number you can call and get some information. And that number is 855-948-2311. President Trump set that up in the White House, and that's it's supposed to be all things veteran. People are using it and getting good results. This number I want you to write down. This is the one that you need to have handy. It's 1-800-273-8255, and when the voice starts, press 1. That's for the crisis hotline. If somebody's in crisis, want to hurt themselves or hurt others, that's the number that you want to call. We're losing 22 veterans a day to suicide. So if you know of somebody that's going through some, especially if they're going through a divorce and that kind of thing, they need to have that number handy. Now here's a company that's out there that is helping veterans. Wounded Warrior Alabama. It's all one word. Wounded Warrior Alabama at gmail.com. Wounded Warrior at gmail.com. Wounded Warrior Alabama at gmail.com. 256-458-2715. That's Ross Winter and his group, and they is helping some people this past week. They had one water been cut off from the water bill and things like that. That there's no other agency out there to take care of that. We're running out of time. They tell me up there, but anyhow, that this week I'm gonna give a salute out to the folks. All of them. There's several guys that drive that DAV van, and it's a volunteer thing, and they give up a lot of their time, and it really helps our veterans. So this salute goes out to all the guys on the DAV van. And remember, the Memorial Day is May the 28th at 11 a.m. And we'll see you next week on Veterans Issue. Salute.